Previously on Investigating Grace.
Listen, Detective, I know I may sound like a crazy person, but I really do have superpowers. I have mind powers and can change a person's heart. I also have the power of invisibility. This body of mine, it isn't the real me. It's just a shell of who I am. I know I may look like I'm only 26 or so, but I've been around since before the world was even created.
You really expect me to believe you, Grace?
Not yet. I decided to show you my identity in human form because I really think people need to understand what I do to help in this world. I mean, that's what it's all about, you know? Helping people see me, showing them that I'm real. Why else would I risk getting arrested and possibly committed to a mental institution? I didn't ask for this assignment. It was given to me. I am so misunderstood by people.
Well, I can understand that because I think you're completely crazy. But tell me about what happened when you supposedly talked to the judge about Clyde, the man who robbed the armored vehicle.
Well, after hearing Clyde's testimony, it's pretty clear to see that he made some terrible choices.
Yeah, I mean, you see terrible choices. I see a man who conspired with his brothers and robbed an armored vehicle. Listen, Grace, Clyde was involved in the planning and execution of a serious felony. So tell me, how did you do it? How did you convince the judge that he was innocent?
It isn't about innocence, Detective. It's about grace.
Now, while I still don't believe you about Clyde, I am interested to see and to hear about how you convinced a judge to let a prostitute go free.
Let me remind you, Detective, that she has a name. It's Lisa.
Well, frankly, I prefer the labels. I mean, people don't change anyway. We had her on drug possession. We had her on lying to the police. We had her on conspiracy. So how in the world did you convince the judge to let her go? I mean, I did personally investigate that case. I think she deserves jail time.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would agree with you.
But you don't.
I didn't say that.
Okay. Grace, we found drugs in her apartment. We know she lied to the police, and she was harboring known criminals in her attic.
Yeah, Lisa really messed up, didn't she?
And you don't think she needs to be punished?
I think she needs me, Detective.
She needs you.
Yes.
Grace.
Yes.
Well, everybody needs Grace. Well, aren't you quite the superhero, aren't you?
No, I'm not a superhero. But I have rescued quite a few people. Like Lisa. Now, don't get me wrong. She's made some mistakes for sure. She's not had an easy road, and look where it led her.
I don't care about her roads or where they led her. I care about this case. She is guilty. I mean, and she lied to the police on top of it. Are you really trying to say that she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Well, I know her place pretty well. I was in her apartment the night your men arrested her. I watched the whole thing happen.
Grace, we have video surveillance of this entire building. You were nowhere in sight.
Detective, haven't we been through this?
Right. You have the superpower of being invisible and changing people's hearts and minds.
You do know that, well, I'm still evaluating whether I'm going to have you arrested or committed to a mental institution.
Yeah, I know.
And well, let me ask you, what did you tell the judge to convince her to drop all the charges against her?
You mean Lisa?
Yeah, whatever, Lisa.
I told him the story in the Bible about the prostitute named Rahab.
I suppose you're going to tell me that I can read about that myself. But you would prefer to give me firsthand details since you're going to claim that you were there too.
Detective, it's good to see you starting to believe me.
I didn't say that. I just know how you are.
Anyway, these two spies from the land of Israel came to Jericho. You see, Israel was God's chosen people, and they were having some trouble with Jericho. Joshua was planning to attack the city, but needed some information first, so he sent a couple of spies.
Here we go. I mean, another ridiculous story. I do not believe the Bible.
Just hear me out. Anyway, when the spies got to Jericho, they arrived at the house of a prostitute named Rahab. Now, they needed a place to stay because the city officials were trying to chase them down and kill them. The city officials were trying to stop God's plan by stopping the spies from Israel.
So this Rahab was a lying prostitute who lied to the city officials, and somehow, God's okay with that.
I know, it's complicated, but sometimes God uses our sinful nature to accomplish a greater purpose. He does this all the time. He doesn't make people sin. He just takes a bad situation and somehow gets glory from it. It's like what he did in Joseph's situation. It's like what he did when Jesus was crucified and raised from the dead.
Anyway, what did the judge say about this?
Well, I told him that Rahab had made a deal with the spies, that they would not destroy her family when they came back to destroy the city. The spies told Rahab to hang a scarlet rope out her window. That would remind them not to destroy her family. They agreed, and when the time was right, Rahab let the spies out the window down the rope to escape. As a side note, Rahab was actually a relative, or as some say, in the bloodline of Jesus.
Wait a minute, Jesus had someone like that as a part of his family?
Crazy, huh? And check this out. The scarlet rope that Rahab used to free the spies was a glimpse into the rescue that Jesus would provide for all of us one day. Scarlet rope, scarlet blood.
And the judge let her off on all charges just because you told him this story.
Well, I told him that I was there with Rahab, just like I was there with Lisa. When the spies needed a place to stay, I convinced Rahab to let them in. That's grace. That's me. I helped the spies escape. That's grace. That's me. When Israel came back to attack the city, I protected Rahab's family. That's grace. That's me. When Rahab needed someone to talk to about her situation, I listened. That's grace. That's me. You see, sometimes people have no way of making a situation right on their own. And asking them to change, they have no idea how to make that happen. They need me to do it. That's grace. That's me. People take advantage of me all the time. Sometimes they take all the credit for the changes in their life when it has nothing to do with them and everything to do with me. Grace.
So, exactly why did the judge feel compelled to let Lisa go?
I guess he thought she needed another chance. I always see people for what they become and not for what they are. The judge apparently saw the same thing.
So you're okay with allowing Lisa to go free without any punishment?
You know, sometimes people need me more than they need punishment. I want Lisa to change because she knows that a new start is a real gift. Now, I can't control her, but I'm patient with her and continue to support her even when she thinks she can live this life alone. She needs me more than she knows, and I'm okay with that for now.
It just doesn't seem fair, actually. I mean, she is a prostitute. She wears that label well. She's proud of it. I don't frankly believe she deserves anything.
Well, the same could be said about you, detective. Wouldn't it be safe to say that you don't get along with others that well? We could label you a fighter.
Okay. You do bring up a good point. I would not want to be labeled a fighter.
You see, detective, grace changes all that. I can change all that.
Oh, so you're a surprising Grace, and now you're a rescuing Grace.
I guess you could say that.
Well, very good. So you're going to tell me, I guess, the story of the fugitive during our next interview.
I'd be happy to. Have a good night, detective.
You too, Grace.